heck are you guys doing here? Oh, we have an amazing pitch for you for a movie, since we are directors. How did you guys even get in here?
It's for sure going to be the next big thing.
Wait, what the? Are we filming we're filming a video. I haven't even had my coffee yet. I don't even know where my mug is. What, we figured you'd be up. It is literally 7 in the morning.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, is that a SpongeBob alarm clock? There's my mug. Oh my gosh, can you guys just shut up? People are trying to sleep. Anyway, like we said, we have a movie for you. It's going to be the next big thing. Picture this. A yearning, neglected youth with round glasses and a geometrical scar hinting about its past must leave on a train and learn to become a wizard at boarding school. That's Harry Potter. You're ripping off Harry Potter.
Amateur.
Right? What you're thinking of is the yearning, neglected youth with big round glasses and a geometrical scar hinting about its past must leave on a train and learn to become a wizard at Hogwarts. That's the same thing!
No, it's not. We changed it up.
You can't just steal people's ideas, change them up a little bit, and call them yours. What? Disney did that? I know they did, and I've already talked about Star Wars, link in description. I don't want to talk about it again. No, I mean The Wild. The heck is The Wild?
The Wild is a 2006 Disney animated film directed by Steve Williams. And right off the bat, if you're a 2000s kid, I probably just unlocked a memory in your mind that you forgot you had. Because I had completely forgotten about this movie, even though I watched it so much as a kid.
For some reason.
But the movie barely made any profits, and the extremely low ratings didn't help. But the main thing that didn't help was that this was released a year after Madagascar. A story about a bunch of zoo animals getting lost in New York City and getting stuck on an island while trying to find a way home while meeting interesting characters along the way.
See, I can't even tell which movie I'm talking about.
And yes, apparently The Wild was supposedly in production before Madagascar.
How it got released a year later is beyond me. But I will give them credit. However, I'm still gonna compare the two. I mean, how can you not?
Because if you didn't even know everything going on behind the scenes, you would just assume that The Wild was a low-budget cash grab of Madagascar.
And the fact that it's literally a Disney movie would just further prove that point.
But I want to give this movie a fair shot and maybe see if it's actually somehow better than Madagascar.
Not to give away any spoilers, but probably not. However, maybe. Okay, how about we do a story like a Disneyland-type park ride in an island with dinosaurs?
Oh yeah, that could work.
This is The Wild.
So we start the movie off with a narration by the main character.
It all started in a little place I like to call The Wild.
Actually, I'm pretty sure everyone calls it that.
But we see a really stylized and inspired animation. And for 2006, it actually looks really awesome. I thought we were going to be getting this for the entire movie.
Oh my gosh, this is epic. How do these two compare?
Oh, that was just a story. And we see a lion roaring in Central Park Zoo with tourists taking pictures of him.
Where have I seen this before?
But, okay, I know I said I was going to try and give this movie a fair shot and not compare it to the better movie that came before it.
But I'm gonna compare it to the better movie that came before it.
If you look at the animation outside of the amazing opening, The Wild is trying to go with more of a realistic animation.
Which might sound like a good idea on paper, but when have you ever watched an animated movie with talking animals for realism?
One of the main reasons why Madagascar is so much more well known is because the animation is animation. That allows it to pull off that slapstick humor and creative expression so much more. And it's able to go all in with its insanity. Here, even though the stuff like the hair on his head is impressive, just look at the difference between these two characters.
Alex the Lion is dripping with so much more personality and inspiration than, well, not Alex.
And I really would have thought that Disney would have learned that realistic animation and talking animals don't go well together. Because when have you ever seen a realistic lion that can have as much personality as this?
But again, I really don't want to compare the two, so let's just try and keep on going.
So we see Not Alex's cub, played by the dude who voiced Beast Boy.
Which, that honestly would have been a way cooler and creative plot.
But he can't roar as powerful as his dad, even though Not Alex wants him to. And they have an argument about how he's never been to the wild and can't roar like Not Alex. Even though he is still a cub, right? I'm not really sure what you expect out of him.
Honestly, if I heard a powerful roar out of something that small, I'd be way more concerned.
So Beast Boy is frustrated and leaves him. Which, the only reason I'll remember his actual name is because it's Ryan. But I can't say I'll remember the names of the other incredibly bland characters.
We'll get to it.
So the zoo closes and we see all the animals leaving their cages. And we get introduced to these guys.
And, I'm sorry, but if you compare them to these icons, they're just so uninteresting.
You will never beat the 10 out of 10 cast of Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, David Schwimmer, and Jada Pinkett Smith, really? But seriously, all of these characters had so much heart and personality, and the animation really helped. Let's compare them, shall we?
Since we already compared everything else, even though I said I wouldn't.
I mean, come on. Even when compared to other animated movies, there's just no contest. So for now, I'll just call them Not Melman, Not Viper, and Not Hammy.
However, I'll give the movie credit where credit's due because one character in particular completely steals the show.
The only character I actually unironically know the name of, Nigel.
I love this guy.
His voice actor, Eddie Izzard, just knocks it out of the park. He has this soft yet annoyed aspect to him, which is perfect because this character is such a lovable animal, yet he wants to be taken seriously and is tired of just being labeled as cute.
So, maybe this does actually have some potential.
So not Alex asks Ryan to come to the curling game or whatever, but he's still sulking because he can't roar. But then we get these two random characters who I genuinely never even learned the names of. And they basically play as like a bizarro ripoff Timon and Pumbaa.
A very rip-off Timon and Pumbaa, I might add.
But, so they peer pressure Ryan to go mess with the gazelles, which then acts as like the main driving force of the plot. However, we never see those characters again.
Which I'm honestly okay with because they were kind of annoying. But it's just like, that seems like way too big of a plot point to give to these random nobodies that never even appear in the movie again.
They're really just there to drive the plot. But even weirder, after an unusually long and honestly just uninteresting curling match, hosted by the Surf's Up Penguin? But anyway, Ryan accidentally brings a stampede and messes up the game. And then not Alex and Ryan have this big fight about messing up the game and not being able to roar. And then we get an emotional 2000 song? And honestly the supposed most emotional scene in the movie? And it happens in the first 15 minutes?
You know, DreamWorks has a certain style to their movies that works so well.
When the characters are at their lowest point, they play 2000 song montages of them sulking. And it's usually with about 25 minutes left in the movie. And they're always really effective. Even Over the Head somehow pulled that off. But again, here, they play that card way too early. And you don't feel anything as you have no idea who these characters are, as they haven't spent any time together. And this only happens because those annoying characters that we never see again.
Literally, what is this movie?
Did the script get flipped somehow so it wouldn't look like that they were copying Madagascar? Did Benjamin Button read it where the movie actually ages backwards or something?
I just don't even know how you can mess this up because it was already laid out for you and done so much better in DreamWorks movies. Wow, that does actually sound pretty dumb. Exactly. Okay, so what were we thinking? Okay, Star System Wars?
Yeah, I think so, but we should move the emotional moments at the very beginning.
right. Gotta watch those liabilities, you know what I mean? Okay, moving on.
So, after all that, Ryan decides to sleep in a green shipping container meant for hauling things out of the zoo, and he's surprised when it starts hauling things out of the zoo.
Ryan.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
He roars like a cat, but you can somehow hear that?
I'm starting to think he just shapeshifted into a gorilla and did that, so maybe the Beast Boy storyline is true. I hope.
So not Alex loses Ryan as he decides to go after him, but before he gets directions from the pigeons?
Crazy pigeon!
Why was this in the movie?
Anyway, we never see them again.
And, again, it's not a bad thing.
But all the discount Madagascar friends easily decide to go with them to help find Ryan. In fact, almost too easy. Seriously, they seem way too okay with just leaving their home and going to a giant city full of people. But luckily, Nigel continues being my favorite character.
Okay, here's my overall plan. Where are we going?
So they ride on a trash truck, and I'm not even sure what's more unrealistic. The fact that literally no one sees them, or that there's literally no one on the streets in New York City. But we get a giant reveal of the city, which again, no way no one sees them, especially in Times Square. But they play a good Coldplay song, so I'll let it slide. After getting a Star Wars pop culture reference?
The only pop culture reference in the movie, I might add.
And again, just walking down the street with no one in sight in literal New York City, the touristy part too. But after Disney self-promotes The Lion King with absolutely no shame.
Even though it's just reminding me of a better movie I wish I was watching.
But not Alex doesn't roar at these incoming dogs. As they escape and go through the sewers to look for TMNT, they then come across these two alligators with New York accents. And I actually really like these guys. Even though they're just in the movie for like a minute, yet somehow made it on the front cover. They find Ryan's shipping container and just have to hijack this guy's boat.
Wow, I honestly feel really bad for that guy.
He didn't even seem to have a radio on him. What, now he's just a swim all the way back? Thanks a lot, jerks.
Jeez, why am I sympathizing more with the dude whose face doesn't even get shown than not Alex? We should give him a proper final scene.
So they follow the big cargo boat as Canadian geese show them the way for some reason. But we get an Indiana Jones style transition as we literally see a storm that's comedic how little they show of it.
And just remember how interesting it was in Madagascar?
When they're all trapped in the boxes and you aren't really sure what's happening, it's a mixture of hilarious and somewhat claustrophobic and eerie. Well now, we get animals driving a boat, even though it's not even played as epic of a moment when they land.
Get it? innovation, right?
But so they're officially in the wild, I guess. And it turns out that the animals are actually being rescued from the active volcano?
Oh my gosh. You're telling me Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom ripped off this movie. I'm honestly just more impressed that so many remembered it to rip off of.
But so they continue through the forest to find Ryan, and we see a bunch of characters who I'm not even going to compare to the legends of Julian, Maurice, and the icon himself, Mort, because that would just be extremely unfair. So not Alex confesses to him that he's not from the wild, despite making up and telling all those stories to Ryan, which is why he didn't roar at the dogs back in New York. Nigel gets captured by this wildebeest cult or whatever, and continues to be my favorite character.
Very good. Very organized. Can I use your toilet?
Although, he might have some competition with these two wildebeests. One of them played by Patrick Warburton, aka the legend Ken, which I honestly cannot think of an animated role he's had which hasn't been hilarious. But they think he's a god because one of the plushies fell from the sky and saved them long ago. And of course, because Nigel is amazing, he goes along with them.
But, though, this is another weird thing about this movie, is that it pulls a solo.
Again, Disney should have learned from this. That is, if they even saw this movie. But what I mean is that he finds the one person he was looking for the whole movie way too fast, fulfilling his whole goal of the movie, but still having to go through an extra uninteresting plotline. Also, it's a moment which should have been an extremely emotional moment and be the center of the film. But it's, well, not that. But he confesses to him that he's just from the circus and not the wild. And just like Ryan, he couldn't roar as a kid.
However, he clearly eventually learned how to roar.
So it's not just the wild that can teach you how. And I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if the people who worked on this movie just genuinely forgot that that was something he could do. Although, they get separated by the wildebeest, which I guess is not stealing if you just steal from yourself. And I'm not even going to edit the amount of times that not Alex screams Ryan in the movie, because if I did, we'd be here all day. Because not Alex just gets separated from him for like the third time now, so he just has to find him again.
Such a wide range of creativity in this movie.
But Ken keeps being hilarious.
Ouch! I twisted a hook!
As Not Hammy gives him a speech about being his true self, which is something Not Alex always told Ryan.
Do I even ask why they chose to give this random character the speech rather than, I don't know, the actual character that Not Alex always gave his speech to, so then they could draw a parallel and have Ryan be the inspirational one?
Does anyone care to add any emotion to any of this? Oh yeah, I forgot, they used it all up in the first 15 minutes. But they both plan to save Ryan and the rest. And we get quite possibly the most out of place thing in the movie, trying to mix realism with cartoons, which goes about as well as you'd expect. Luckily, we get the most iconic thing in the movie, and honestly the only thing I ever remembered from it, Nigel wearing a pineapple, along with a legitimately funny line.
Friends, God. Oh, that was subtle.
So Not Alex crashes the party and battles the wildebeest leader, even though I am not really even sure how this is a fair fight.
I mean, he is still a lion, right? You know, king of the jungle.
And also, since we're already comparing this movie to everything, the final fight to the Lion King had so much emotion leading up to it and was just a legitimately good and fair fight. Here, though, they don't even know each other. This is as interesting as a pickup basketball game with two random people with nothing on the line. Except even that would somehow be even more intense.
Simba and Scar, who? This is the real physical and emotional battle I want.
So after a shot so mimicking the Lion King, they might as well just add in Long Live the King. Not Melman, and the rest of them try to help. However, we get this big emotional moment where it looks like Ryan is about to die. Until literally in the next shot we see that he's fine. Camera isn't even focused on him, but honestly, why not at this point? Not Alex just completely defies physics with literal visible sound waves as they all escape the volcano with the boat. And, of course, we get an ending dance number as they ride off into the sunset. Even though I'm not really sure exactly where they're going. I mean, are they going back to the zoo? And what are they gonna do with the wildebeest? The island was just blown up. Sorry, I forgot, I'm not supposed to think this hard.
And that was The Wild. Oh, I got it. We could do a heartwarming story about a kid who befriends an alien and has to get him home.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
Hello, have you guys even been listening to me this whole time? Yeah, what's up? I just think you shouldn't use ideas so similar to pre-existing movies. Hey, whoa. Didn't you say that The Wild was developed before Madagascar? Well, yeah, but...
So, what if we came up with these ideas before the movies came out?
You didn't. He's onto us. But even if you did, it doesn't really matter, because the movie that came out first is what the public is going to compare, which is why The Wild was just destined for failure.
I know I was kind of harsher on this movie than others, but it's really just because of the circumstances and my love for both Madagascar and The Lion King. And I'm sure the people who put their heart and soul into this movie were crushed to hear that a similar and better movie came out a year before. Because if it hadn't, then I guarantee it would have been rated higher. Because as much as it sounds like I hate this movie, I really don't. For realistic animation, it is pretty good. Nigel and the kid Untamed Wildebeest are really funny characters, the songs were all great choices, and even though the plot was very straightforward, it's honestly better for a kids movie like this, as it keeps not Alex tied to one specific goal throughout the entire movie, which I would much rather have than a follow your dreams type plot mixed with a weird love story between a human and anthropomorphic bee with court hearings mixed with something about capitalism, I don't know. Yeah, B-movie is just a mess the more and more I think about it. So yeah, overall, The Wild isn't awful. It just had the very unfortunate circumstance of being released after Madagascar, which is why this movie will keep me watching for years to come, while The Wild will just be left behind.
So, that's about it. Oh, you guys already finished the review? Well, I was too busy not sleeping because I kept hearing all of your dumb ideas. Well, did you hear the film adaptation idea for Ryan's next book titled... Wait!